My grandmother always had food on the table. It brought everyone together. I liked that. At 17, I was working any job I could to make money. When I was invited into the kitchen, I felt it immediately. The focus, the pressure, the rhythm. It wasn't just cooking. It was an artistic outlet, a culture I wanted to be a part of. I belonged.
Chef, thank you for coming on the show.
Absolutely, excited to have you here.
Yeah, so you're from New Jersey originally?
Yes, sir.
Right. What was growing up like?
I grew up very, an Italian family. My mother's from my mother's side is Italian, so grew up going to grandma's house every Sunday. Always a lot of food everywhere and stuff like that. The Jersey Italian way.
Yeah.
That was like kind of like where food started for me, was in that. Grew up. Just a regular old kid, nothing crazy, but it was that that lifestyle, that upbringing is what really drove me to where I am right now. So.
Okay. And was your grandmother a very good cook? Was she like your classic Nona?
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Sunday, dinner was on Sundays.
Everything was wonderful.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
We had a great night last night with you.
Thank you. See, it's perfect for the interview. Anyways, so we, grandma. I think everybody's grandmother is the best cook, right? I think everybody will say that. And that's
so
not,
I've heard, but that was when my dad was young. She doesn't really cook anymore.
Oh, really?
So I heard. She
all right,
makes
okay.
brownies apparently. But, so we're actually, while I'm down here, we're gonna try to.
There you go.
I'm gonna try to shoot with her, and she's like, "Well, I don't know." And I'm like, "All right, we can just follow a recipe." I wasn't expecting you to remember it from memory. Yeah.
Well, I only got to cook with my grandmother. On the sort of the level I'm at now, maybe once or twice in my life.
Okay.
But as a kid, I always saw what was going on, and she always made certain things for certain holidays, that we always loved. In general, she would make meatballs almost all the time, and no one knows how to make them as good as she does.
Yeah. It's always how it goes. I mean, you get the recipe, and it's like
it's not the same.
Yeah.
It's not the same. You could use the same exact ingredients. It's not the same, and that really really trickles down all around. Even working for Chef Daniel, like him and I could stand next to each other with the same exact ingredients, and he's going to make it better than I. It's the truth. It's a tough thing to really replicate what he does, or what my grandmother did, etc. To a T. There's always that little bit of touch that a chef puts into it, for sure. So it can be a challenge. But again, growing up with watching my grandmother cook and things is what kind of like inspired me to be where I am right now.
So she was the biggest influence in terms of cooking?
I would say yes. I think for sure. I think just the family overall, the way it is. Right? Growing up in an Italian family, like again, food's around you all the time. It's all we know.
Yeah.
Just always being around food, that was, I think, what just was in me all the time. It was like I was kind of made it easy. There was definitely a point where maybe I wasn't cooking as a young kid or teenager or whatever, but I stepped into a kitchen one day at a job that I was at, and they asked me to, can you work in the kitchen tonight? I said, sure, I'll help out. And they kind of threw me and said, you're going to make some salads and you're going to fry calamari. That's the only two things you're going to do. And at the end of the night, I said, I don't really want to do anything ever again in my life. I just want to be a cook. Yeah. I want to be a chef at some time. It was the aura of the kitchen, the idea that this is like this is a creative outlet, Yeah. I can't draw or anything like that, so this is my way of being an artist, I guess, if you will. That's kind of where, I guess that's kind of like another like driving force of where I'm at. So.
What was the greatest lesson your grandmother ever taught you?
Ooh. Oh man. No one's ever asked me that. That's a tough one. I don't know. I don't know if there was anything that was like that she ever like fully like taught, like ingrained, like ever said. Nothing she ever said was like, hey, take this, remember this. It wasn't that. It's more so probably.
Could be as a cook, could be just as a person.
Well, I was gonna say it was an unspoken thing, right? Going back to saying like there was always food on the table when you were going to grandma's house. It could have been just my immediate family. It could have been the whole extended family. There's always food around, right? And it was the food that brought the whole family together. Again, whether it was just 4 of us or if it was 30 of us, it didn't matter. It was it was by putting that on the table, by making that good, that's what made the family like good. You know what I mean? Like
there's
that's
a big
what brought the family together.
Aspect of
exactly.
food that really brings people together.
So I wouldn't say that she necessarily she didn't write it down and say, here, I'm teaching you this. It was like you saw that, you did that, you saw that, and that became like instilled in your brain. That was like, okay, this is what's important. This is what, if the family's coming over, we're going to put the food on the table, and that's going to bring the family together. That's how it was.
So if someone were to ask you, how do you believe that food transfers emotion? Would you relate it back to community?
Community being like neighborhood community or
family, whatever, like bringing together friends, family in an intimate setting. Like if someone were to ask you, how do you believe that food transfers emotion? How would you put that into?
How do I believe that?
Yeah.
I don't know how I believe it, but I believe it. It's exactly that, right? If we don't know each other, right? Let's say there was a few more people sitting at the table here. None of us know each other. It might be a bit awkward, maybe a tough conversation here or there, but you throw food on the table, and now all of a sudden it's a talking point.
Yeah.
Right? It could be a talking point for many reasons. This is my favorite thing. I don't like this. I'm allergic. There's a lot of things. But now all of a sudden, people are together. You're having it just makes the conversation easy. People always, I always joke, I guess, really saying like, people are always going to eat. Jobs are going to come and go, but restaurants are never going. People are always going to have to eat, so I'm never going to be without a job, in some respect, right?
AI is not going to take over.
Nope. No, AI is taking our jobs.
Taking over
not
a lot,
mine.
but it can't take over yours.
No.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be food on the table. There's always going to be a need for food on the table, in some capacity. It may not be a fine dining restaurant. It could be a pizza place. It could be anything. There's always going to be that, right? And it's going to bring the people together because of whatever the case may be. AI is taking our jobs. Let's go get some food and cry over this. That brings you together. To make the joke about the AI thing, right?
No, but
in
true.
general,
Yeah, it's true.
Food will bring people together. You could be sitting at a bar having dinner by yourself, and maybe the guy next to you is by himself as well. All of a sudden, you guys are talking because you're having the same thing to eat or whatever. Oh, hey, what are you eating? I should have tried that instead. It just will always bring people together. So that sense of community, that sense of it's just a bond, that will always be there, I think, and that's what food does. And it does even more than that, of course. From a saying community, we here at the restaurant, we actually once a month we cook for what's called Quantum House. Okay. It's a part of the hospital here in downtown West Palm, and it's like a sort of a children's aspect. You talk about community, that's what we do for the community as well, right? So that brings people together. It's food is indispensable.
So, how did you end up where we're sitting here at Café Boulud?
It's a bit of a story, for sure. I again, I was a kid. I worked in a country club. I was doing whatever. They asked me to cook one night. Sure, that's where my culinary venture really started. Yeah. I went to school for a little bit, not for culinary, and didn't always work in kitchens during that time. So there was a bit of a pause. But when I was about 24, I think I moved to Orlando for the first time. Started working in Disney as a cook, and made my way into a restaurant called Victoria and Albert's in the Grand Floridian. At the time, it was a AAA 5-diamond restaurant, and it was and it still is very prestigious, but as a cook, if you got into working there, that was you made it to the top, right? So I worked there for a couple of years, and I left and went back to Jersey. I worked my way through New York City, worked for Marc Forgione for a while. I did work for Café Boulud for a little bit as well, a few other restaurants. Then I made my way back into Jersey and stayed on the Jersey side. I left New York for a bit, worked in Jersey City. That was fantastic, but I had an opportunity to come back to Orlando in 2022, and I took it. I went back to the same restaurant, Victoria and Albert's. I worked as a chef there. I went to go work with and for my best friend, who was the chef de cuisine. I was, I guess my title best would be titled as exec sous chef. Okay. My title was just chef, but in terms of a hierarchy, I would say exec sous chef. So to get to work with him and for him, we always talked when we were younger, imagine if we could get a Michelin star one day. Can we do it? Can we do it? So when I returned in 2022, the restaurant now AAA 5-diamond and Forbes 5-star. There's only a few of those in the country. And then, again, we said, I'm coming back to let's get a star. And after about 2 years, I think it took, April 2024, we got a Michelin star, which they've still retained. And it was high fives and hugs, and we accomplished what we wanted. Yeah. And I said, okay, I'm ready to move on, but I didn't want to leave Florida. So I started to look around, what opportunities were here. Obviously, I knew that Danielle had some restaurants in the state, so I looked into it, and there was an opportunity. I took a chance, and that kind of brought me to where I am now. I came down. I fell in love with the place right away.
How could you not? I mean,
it's beautiful. I came in. I actually had brunch here one time. I sat in the front, and it was. I felt like I was in somebody's sunroom. In a Florida house with the sunroom. I was oh, it's beautiful. With the landscaping on the outside of the hotel that wraps around the restaurant itself. It's just awesome. And food was fantastic. Setting's great, of course. I said it's an opportunity. It's similar to what I was doing in Jersey City, because it was a big restaurant that did weddings and events, and had a big dining room, etc. But here we are all again, so I feel very comfortable in that setting. And I was just when they offered it to me, I said, done and done. I'll be there as fast as I can. And I being in South Florida, I love it. I live in downtown West Palm. Drive to Palm Beach every day for, it takes me all of 9 minutes. But you could be in Delray, Boynton, Fort Lauderdale, Miami in no time. That's what I love about South Florida for sure. So that's where I am now.
How long has Café Boulud been here?
24 years? 23 or 24 years, I can never remember. Early, it was 2000, 2001, something in that area is when it opened. Is when Danielle came down here and this is the first restaurant outside of New York City that he opened too.
Okay.
So this is sort of like a bit of a baby for him, you know. It's like he loves this place, he has a great partnership with the hotel, etc. And yeah, it's just it's a good spot. You know, it's pretty awesome what we can do here between having, you know, today we have a wedding inside. I think is about 30 or 40 people. They'll take up the ballroom and I believe also the conservatory. Sometimes we'll have it, you know, ballroom, conservatory, terrace, courtyard. You know, they can do a wedding or whatever, any kind of event
Different
for
atmosphere,
150, 180 people. In January, I think it is, we usually have an event for like 220, I think is the number. It's massive. I mean, they take up the whole thing. They don't take up the dining room. Like, so we'll still like do like regular service and then all this at the same time.
Okay.
So it's we can rock and roll here. It's fun.
How has Danielle inspired you? Whether that, I mean, I take it that probably started. You said you worked for him originally.
Yes.
At what restaurant was that?
Well, it's gone now, unfortunately. It was on the corner of 64th and Broadway in New York. It was Bar Boulud. Okay. And on the corner, you had a pizzeria, you had Bar Boulud and Boulud Sud. Okay. And they've closed that and they're reopening it here in, I would say, actually a couple months as something bigger. But I worked there. It was great. But coming down here, to talk about inspiration, I'm actually really happy you asked that because here we were for Food and Wine Festival. We have a menu made for it, but on the fly, chef says, we're gonna do something else. We're gonna add something else, and we bring in some swordfish from right down here in Miami. Fresh caught. It was actually fantastic fish, and him and I were in the walk-in, and it was amazing to watch how his mind worked. He stepped in the walk-in and he said, "Okay, we have some endive, we have some sweet potatoes, we've got orange." Okay, I got it. Oh, some chipotle onions, and boom, he just came up with this whole dish. We prepped it on, the night before. We had it ready to go for the next day, and it was possibly the star of the show. And crazy to think that when here we were having prepped all the other stuff, having thought the other menu out, and then here he is. He walks in and just said, "Yeah, we're gonna get some swordfish in, and we're gonna do this." Yeah. Yes, chef, no problem. Of course we do that. And he just put it together, and it was absolutely wonderful. So that's an inspiration in itself. See you later, guys. Thank you. Watching him do that was, I stood there. It took all of maybe 2.5 minutes for him to do that, to just come up with seeing a few things. I think every chef can walk in and do something like that, but to watch the man himself do it is a different story, right? And say, holy cow, like, that's right, I worked for this guy, So it was really great to see that. Him and I had a conversation about, on the day that he was leaving, he mentioned the term progressive French cuisine to me, and he said it to me the night before, and the next day when he was leaving, I said goodbye to him. I said, "Chef, I'll remember progressive French cuisine," and he said, "Don't forget the DNA of things, where it comes from," and that was an inspiration itself, right? So I'm always searching the Instagram, et cetera, right? My nose is always in a cookbook, but here I am now saying, okay, what is progressive French cuisine? So you talk about inspiration. He's inspired me to dive into this and think about what that means, to see what the plating style of that might be. What are the flavors? How does it work? What is that best suited to? And how can I apply it to this restaurant, to this kitchen? So I'm not saying that we've rolled it out already, but it's in my head. It's how do we make that work? So that's like his inspiration.
Continually evolving.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm saying the inspiration of it is like, I have to now, I take it on myself to say, well, what do I do to make progressive French cuisine? Is that something I've always done? Absolutely not. But how do I make myself that now? And how do we incorporate it here? And how do I teach that to the cooks, that work for me? So it's pretty cool.
It's a neat word. I like that.
I've never, it was the reason it came up, I'm not gonna lie. We were plating the scallop dish we have on the menu right now. And my plating style is a little bit more sporadic, if you will. Okay. And he saw us plating it and he said, no. He said, he actually used the term, no zigzags. I don't like that. Yes, chef, no problem. He said, more refined, just like the sauce in one spot. Yes, chef, no problem. Of course, again, he's the master. We're going to listen to what he says. And he turned to me, because it was a sous chef that was plating. He turned to me and he said, less progressive American, more progressive French. And I said, got it, chef. And it just, from there, I just took off. That was on Saturday night when he was here. We were prepping for the next day. And he said that to me on Saturday night. And when he was leaving Sunday, I said it back to him. I said, I'll remember that, chef, you know. And that's, I guess, we got to go from there. You know, if you do like a quick Google search of what progressive French cuisine is, I almost feel like Google was like, I don't know. And, you know, I went to like an image search to see what it was. And there's some pictures I recognized. And the funny thing is, when I Googled it, one of the things it did say was, it used the term DNA of where the food comes from. And I said, holy cow.
I've never heard that before.
Right. I'm sure it's a thing. I'm sure it's been said somewhere. I had never heard it, but I've taken it to heart now. You know, it's like that's what we need to do to the food now, here in this restaurant. So there's your inspiration, right?
It's probably the best answer. That could be the best answer I got yet. But so, if you could have one cuisine in your DNA that you want to pursue, really, would it be French?
Don't let Chef Daniel hear this. I'm just kidding. It's Italian. You know, that's what's in my blood.
That's the most.
You know, I'm very happy doing what we do here. I'm very happy to push myself to learn a better, you know, progressive French. I want to learn it. You know, it's not that I'm happy about it. I want to learn it. I want to better myself. I want to be more rounded. But if somebody right now said, here's the money to do what you want, to open your restaurant the way you want it, it's going to be Italian. It's going to be something probably very pizza focused even. That's like, that's what I love. You know, it's like, I want to say it's a hobby, but it's not. I'm a chef, so it's more than just a hobby to me, right? This is like, that's what I want to do in life. But in the moment, I want to do this. I want it to be this restaurant. At some point, I'm sure down the road, it'll be my own somewhere, right?
So yeah, if someone offered you whatever an offer you couldn't refuse, back everything, every amount of money, could do whatever you want, wherever you want. You're doing an Italian restaurant, where would you put it?
Yeah, so if somebody were to say, you can open your restaurant, you can do your way, your thing right here, right now, it's going to be a place called Zabita, which is a play off of my last name, and obviously the word pizza. And that's my goal, is to open a place where it's not just a pizza restaurant. We serve pizza. You know, we're going to do a certain style of pizza, but at the same time still have, you know, some crudos on the menu, some nice, a couple nice salad scenarios. Ideally, a wood-burning oven where pizza might be coming out of it on one side, but also some larger format entrees, right? So I don't want you to think of pizzeria, but an Italian-style restaurant where you can feel like you can come there more than once a week and have a great meal, or you know what, we're going to celebrate, and you can still feel like you're getting the great service of a celebratory meal, right? A neighborhood scenario, but also a celebratory environment as well. But focused around this Italian cuisine, this, again, maybe to go back to Jersey Italian, you know, maybe that's like what I really like, you know, maybe that's what is in my mind and in my heart. It's what I grew up knowing. You know, that's what I would do. If somebody just handed me a pile of money right now and said, this is enough to do what you want, that's what I'm going to do.
And where are you putting it?
Well, real estate's getting expensive in West Palm, but maybe down there.
you have unlimited money.
Oh, unlimited money?
You have a backing wherever you want.
West Palm.
West Palm, okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
You know, I really have fallen in love with the area overall. As I mentioned, like, to live in downtown West Palm, you have the Bright Line right here, and to be able to just jump on that and end up in Miami in an hour, you know, it's fantastic. I think it takes an hour and 10 minutes. It was the greatest thing in the world. Yeah. You can't drive there in an hour and 10 minutes. So I think that downtown West Palm is about to just blow up. It's becoming this massive, I mean, it already is, right? It's already growing. But I think in the next 5 years, it's going to be like, holy cow, look at what we've got here. And I think that's the place to be right now.
Okay.
I've heard people throw the term like Wall Street South to talk about West Palm, specifically downtown West Palm. A lot of new buildings, as you see when you cross over the bridge. You can see it all. So I think
they keep going.
They just keep going, right? And I think that the more they build high-rise apartment complexes, condos, the more people are going to be here, obviously, but there's also some real estate on the ground floor, possibly, where you're going to want to put a restaurant or whatever. I think that's the place to be. I think Palm Beach is always going to be Palm Beach. It's beautiful. It's never going to change. I think that people will always come here and have dinner and dine or whatever, you know. They're always going to be here. I think that West Palm is going to be the it place, though, you know. It's not going to take away from here. I think that's just going to be the it place, and that's going to be where people are going to go, you know. And I look forward to it. Whether I have that pile of money to open the restaurant or not, I love living there, and I love, like, so I've fallen in love with the area all over. You know, it's everything about it. So that would be the spot.
Do you? Now, this is a very important question.
Yeah.
Do you go to the Green Market every week?
That's so funny you said that. So because I live where I live, I think it's 2.2 miles to drive here. Every Saturday I walk, and I walk through the Green Market for that reason. I want to see it. You know, I mean, a lot of it. It's
my favorite farmers market I've ever seen. Like, I haven't seen too many, but still, those apple cider donuts are are just the greatest.
Well, as I keep saying, I love West Palm. I really do. But in terms of the best green market, it would be Union Square in New York City. Okay. If you can ever get there.
I've been there, so. Okay.
You want to go there either spring or summer. I feel like you know, when the produce is just flowing. Yeah. You know, obviously up north in the fall and the winter it starts to get a little quiet, but like spring, when everything's coming back out, that's the best. That being said, I do walk through this market every Saturday because I just love it. I mean, it's great to have it here. It's so exciting to see so many people out for it, you know, shopping, etc. And one of the biggest things I do go through there for is there's a place called Palm Beach Salt Company. He's actually right over on Dixie, but he has a stand there on the weekends now, and we use his salt. It's like a nice, like, finishing salt that he does. It's like nice big flaky salt. It's fantastic. The salinity of it is great, and the coolest part about it is he gets the water from the ocean. He doesn't. I don't know where. I just know he goes over to Palm Beach somewhere and gets some ocean water, filters it, and turns it into salt. It's amazing, and what a cool thing to be able to. I don't know if that's giving back to the community per se, but locally, to where, you know, to source locally like that from him, and that all came from just here. It all came just from a chance meeting. Him and I were at another event, and I heard him talking. I said, "Oh, that's really cool." We talked a little bit. We said we'd keep in touch. We kind of didn't get a chance to. He showed up here one day with some salt. He said, "Hey, we met a couple months back. I just wanted you to have some product." And from there, it's just I order from him. I'll text him, shoot him an order. Hey, you know, on Saturday I'm swinging by on my walk. He's like, "No problem." I come in, I pick up my buckets of salt, I come to work. It's you know, so there's plenty of other stuff at that green market, but for me, that's like the biggest thing, is to go there and get that from him. And it's you know, when I worked in New York City and I would go to the green markets there, one of my favorite things is getting to walk down there. I have like a little basket or whatever, load up my cart, go back to the restaurant. This is what I'm doing here, you know? It may just be salt at the moment, but just to be able to be like, yeah, I'm walking through the market to go pick up the product that we're going to use in the restaurant is very exciting.
And it comes from...
And it comes from right here, yeah.
Half a mile down, a mile down that way.
He's, Jonathan Richards. He's a fantastic guy. And I just saw him this morning on my walk-in. I didn't need to pick anything up, but it's, you know, I swing by, I say hello to him, we chat for a quick minute. You know, it's a good relationship to have. Yeah, it's very nice. Very nice.
Well, I will be going by next week.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, next Saturday for sure. He's I mean, you don't have to put this on there, but when you go down Clematis towards the water, when it splits, he's on the right hand side. Okay. He's like the second vendor. I think there's like a bread guy and then him on the right hand side, like right behind Camelot.
I know where that is. I've seen his stuff.
He's a good guy. Like I said, I mean, his place is on Dixie, and sometimes I go there. You know, if I'll be like, hey, can I swing by on I can't wait till Saturday. I swing by on on a Thursday. Yeah, no, come on in. We'll go in, we chat it up and stuff. He's got a really cool thing going. He was a chef at some point. Not to say that he's not anymore, but he's just not working in kitchens the way he used to. But he's got the passion for it, and it's so cool because he knows like the nutrients of it, and he's not lying. He says, you're not feeling well, dehydrated, hungover, whatever it is. Yeah. He says, take some of my salt, put it on your tongue. Put it under your tongue, actually, and just let it dissolve. And the nutrients that you get from his salt, I don't know, maybe it's in my brain, but it's like, it actually like works. Like I've definitely come in, maybe not feeling great or whatever, take a little salt, let it do its thing, and like, boom. Yeah. He's also given me, he has like I'm going too deep into this, but he has this like the drip off.
Go deeper. Go deeper.
You know, the whole process of the salt he's shown me, but there's like the drip off that comes, right? And it's this like I think it's like magnesium, like this like liquid magnesium, and he's giving me some of it, and like it's a spray bottle, and he's like, you know, if you're having trouble sleeping or whatever, he's like, you spray it in like wherever the bottle says, you know, your wrists, your ears, whatever the hell, but you do that, and I did it a couple of times, and like, boom, you're out. Like it's like 8 hours solid sleep. Like you forget like anything. It's really quite wild.
Awesome. Magnesium is a huge
right, and that's what I'm saying about him. Like I mean, we read about magnesium for sure, but he's done his research. He knows, and what an awesome thing that he's making this delicious salt. You know, he does some flavored ones and things like that too. But he's making that, but then he's got this byproduct and saying, here, this is also really healthy for you. You know, I mean, the salt's good for you, but this also is going to help you too. Like, it's a no waste product. It's really great. I'm talking too much about his business. We should talk about less, but no, it's again, I get excited about it because he's so excited about it. I go there, we talk food and stuff. He asks me, what are you doing with the salt? You know, what do you? Is there something I can do different? You want something? He'll try like a different technique and it gets like a different flake. It gets very exciting, you know. So I get passionate about it because he's so passionate about it.
And the salt that you guys use, is it just a traditional flaky salt? There's no flavor, or like
so. We use a couple different salts here. That one,
I'm saying the one that you
from
use
him
on
specific. He has, it's, you know, it'll be like a large crystal kind of thing, right? You know, large flake like that, and it's just something that we would use as like a finishing salt. Some of them, on you know, maybe on a steak dish. You know, if we're doing like a big ribeye, that's perfect for it because you can see the flake catch and stuff. He also made another one that was a little bit more like fleur de sel almost, so a different type of like grain, if you will, and that's like perfect for like the raw fish. You don't want like the big flake on the raw fish. It's just not the way it should be, but it's just like a little bit like of a not finer grain, but like a coarser something. And you put that on the fish. It's really cool. It's really cool that he does it all, you know, and that we get to use it, of course.
Thank you for sharing that.
Of course, of course.
That's amazing. Yeah.
He's gonna love when I tell him
that. you can show him this. You can show him this. It's very interesting to see very traditional French food that can be very delicious and homey, or take the word molecular gastronomy,
right?
And spherify things and push the boundaries. How would you identify your style of cooking within, I guess, that scale or versus Danielle, versus Chef Danielle's?
Right. I don't want to keep going back to like the progressive French cuisine thing, but you know, again, I do need to push myself to be like that. You kind of mentioned like the traditional side. What's cool about Café Boulud here, and I would say New York as well, is that there's kind of we kind of go on both ends of the spectrum. You know, right now we have a pâté en croûte on the menu. That's very traditional. In fact, right now we're in the middle of making some boudin blancs. You know, again, very traditional. And
I love boudin blanc sausage.
I'm so excited about it. We're going to use it for the holidays here. It's really going to be great.
You guys tourné apples as well? Or
we're going to, yeah. This is the first time we're making it, but you know, for the holiday here, it's going to be great. So I'm excited to do it. It's going to be so cool. But yeah, tourné apples, probably do like maybe an apple puree, a little Dijon jus or something like that. But in any case, yeah, you know, those two examples, super traditional, right? So we're going to, but on the other end, sorry, we have, I don't want to say it's like avant-garde. I mean, I would never do like molecular, you know, no spherification. That's not me. I probably had a time when I was younger that I believed in it, or I thought it was so cool. There's a time and place for it, and certain chefs out there can really like hammer it home, and that's their thing, and they do it fantastically. You know, I mean, Grant Achatz obviously being the top of the top, right? If you've ever eaten in his restaurant, it'll blow you away. I've eaten when he did a collaboration, 2012 I think it was, with Daniel Hume at 11 Madison Park, where they switched restaurants for a week, right? So
really?
Yeah,
I did not know that. That's cool.
Oh, it was amazing. Lydia came to New York City and took over 11 Madison Park for I think for 1 week, and I got to go to dinner there. And I would say probably the absolute like most really like mind-blowing experience. I mean, just the extent they go for all of, holy cow, you know, really, really great. It was in the fall, and they actually had leaves, true leaves, all over the table, right? And so it was like that was the theme. Like you walked in, you felt like this is like it's just fall, you know. I get it, autumn, etc. And you had things on the table that felt like that. The plateware, whatever, like they felt that way. It was really, really cool. My favorite part of the whole meal, I shouldn't say that, but the funniest part was really all these leaves on the table, and after we finished like maybe a course or two, the maitre d' comes over, he says, I need your help, we need to clear the table. And he picks up the plates, And then he says, do this. And he takes his hand, he just throws the leaves on the ground. He said, now go ahead and do the rest of the table. We just threw all the leaves are on the floor. But that playfulness that he does, you know, that what he does with the food, that's very much his style, right? We wouldn't do that here. I wouldn't do that. It's not my style. So I'm somewhere in that middle ground where we can do some, our plating styles, again, might be, again, we're going to go towards progressive French, but what I do right now is probably a little bit different. Maybe, I don't know, not super traditional. You know, my flavors like may not be super traditional, or maybe like a little, oh, that's okay. Well, a crudo like that might be a little out there. We might not see that in a typical French restaurant, but we kind of make it work. You know, we obviously, of course, we test all the food. It's not like we just put on a plate and go. We test the recipes, we test the ideas, we run it as a special first or something, and we have a chance to tweak it before it hits the menu, of course. Yeah. So, you know, again, where do I fall? Yeah, it's I think the great thing about Café Boulud is that you can do both. You can be on the traditional side. You can do something that's a little bit more. Bistro, yeah. You can kind of do it all. It's great. Staying within the lines of being French, of course, right? I mean, I'm not going to put a straight up Italian lasagna on the menu, of course not. But you know, we doing the boudin blanc, and I keep saying that because I'm so excited about it. Doing that, doing the pâtés, the encroûte, etc. That's exciting. You know, the classics never die, right? Yeah. You know, kind of like never forget where you came from. It's the DNA that Chef Daniel talked about. Like, you have to be able to do these things. And as a cook, you're told that your whole life. Like, yes, the avant-garde, the molecular, etc. That's fun. But if you can't do this, you're not going to do this. You know, you have to know this before you get to that. You have to learn to crawl before you learn to walk, right? So
I remember the first restaurant I ever spent time in was staging. I was 13, but in a restaurant down the road called Chez Jean-Pierre, and I think the first thing I ever tried there was their traditional boudin blanc, and I remember going home. I mean, I was 13. I had whatever savings in my room from selling things growing up, but I went and bought like a sausage machine, and I made it from scratch. And
how'd it come out?
Not great. Just not very good.
They can't all be winners.
I got their exact recipe. I was like, all right, well, I get pissed me off. I was like, how do you fucking like this is this why couldn't I figure it out? And then what even pissed me off even more was trying to figure out how to tourner and that, I mean, okay, for that I think that has to be I mean, just doing something so simple yet it's so fucking hard that has to be one of the harder, like, simple things I've ever tried in my life, whether it's cooking, whatever it is. I mean, it just, I couldn't quite figure it out, and these chefs were telling me, don't try it with apples, do it with potatoes. Get a case of potatoes and go home
and just keep practicing.
Yeah, and they were like, that's how we figured it out.
Yep.
And
can you do it today? We're not doing it. We're not sure. I don't know.
I don't want to be on camera. I could give it a go, but I'm not too confident in that. I'm honestly, I may have gotten, like, I tried it for days on end and gotten too pissed off. I was also a kid. Like, it was like, all right, screw this. I'll return to this one day. But
have you ever tried fluting mushrooms?
When you say fluting,
so you take a paring knife and you have like a true like button mushroom, and you kind of similar to like tournéing. Okay. You're going to cut the mushroom, but you're like not cutting it. You're using the knife to like cut into the mushroom, and eventually you're gonna have these perfect lines all the way around it. Look up fluted mushrooms, you'll see what I mean.
I will. I mean,
that's like classic traditional again, like you know, and then you can poach them, etc. And like you'll see like the perfect white line like all around. It's beautiful.
I do know what you're talking about. I do know what you're talking about. I have not. The last mushrooms I peeled were just traditional chanterelles, and I must say that is one of the more satisfying things you can do.
It's a zen moment, just cleaning a chanterelle.
Oh my God, it's so beautiful. It's so pretty.
When they're the perfect like size, etc. That's a great time.
Lighting, pacing, energy, an ambiance in a meal. How do you go about creating a atmosphere that is warm, inviting, and people want to be there and is fun? Obviously, the food has its component, but we're going to shift outside food for a second.
It's kind of a tough question, only because I don't have as much, not even as much, I shouldn't say that. I don't have like really control over the dining room, right? So it's not something I can totally influence, I guess.
Your interpretation.
if you go back to somebody giving me that pile of money to open my own
All right,
restaurant,
yeah,
right?
we'll go back down that road. I'm cool with that.
So there is. It all has to fit the scene. It all has to fit the food. It all has to fit the. There's a vibe that's got to be made. You know, if we're doing quote unquote tweezer food, right? We're doing a 12-course menu with every little dot and every little thing in its place. We're not going to have rock and roll music playing with the lights fully up and, you know, clanging dishes, right? So it all is it's all an orchestra that all goes together. It's a dance, if you will, right? That all has to fit. So, you know, if we're opening up this Italian-focused, somewhat pizza, again, not by the slice, but a nice pizza, think Neapolitan style, right? With that and these other like nice, you know, nice entrees, but I want you to have that feeling of being a neighborhood. You know, the setting is going to be, maybe the lights are a little bit dim, but like in that sort of dark, welcoming way, you know. I want you to feel homey, you know, feel like you're not so stuffy sitting like this, you know. It's you can hang out with your friends. You know, the music might be a little bit louder, maybe a little bit closer to a rock and roll music or something more poppy, etc. Right? That fits that vibe. You know, that's it. All has to be together. It all has to be cohesive. If you know, if one thing's doing this and the other thing's doing this, they're just not gonna. It just doesn't feel right. People are gonna feel off because of it. You know, you have to have that dance, that well-oiled machine.
Rewinding back quickly to your childhood and inspiration for you, how did you grow up hand making pasta?
I didn't get to grow up making pastas like that. You know, grandma did, and growing up, my grandmother and grandfather had a duplex upstairs, downstairs. They lived on the first floor, and my aunt and uncle lived upstairs. Okay. And my aunt, my sister's, my mom's sister, she was more like desserts. Okay. She could make the cookies all day long and things like that. That was her thing. So I didn't get to make the handmade pasta, nor did I really get to do the stuff upstairs, but it was just always around me. Yeah. You know, it was always like, you're a kid, you kind of like, you know what's going on. You're watching. Like, you're taking it all in. You're a sponge, you know. It's all just coming to you. So I didn't get to make it until I was a little bit older, and not even necessarily in the family setting. It was more like, you know, I could see what was going on. I kind of knew what was going on. You know, again, taking it in, and then, you know, stepping foot into a restaurant and somebody teaching me, oh, okay, this is how you do it. You know, no, this is how you need the dough. Whatever. You know, this is your recipe for the dough. This is this recipe, etc. You know. You kind of like, that's when I got to really get in and get quote unquote hands on. Not even
to me, that's probably the most relaxing thing I've done in the kitchen. I've already committed to a 3-month program in Bologna.
Oh, that's awesome.
Hand making pasta.
That's so cool.
9 students go through it a year. It's the #1 school in Bologna, and Bologna is the home of Sfolia, so I would say it's the #1 school in the world. Right. And Evan Funke trained under the lady who runs it. Yeah. And yeah, I essentially did the tryout a couple months ago and got it and ended up getting it. But to me, it's so monotonous, but at the same time, it's so relaxing. And it's just, there's something about such a simplicity, even though it's the same motion over and over again, that just is so inviting. And when you can put all that love and effort into something and to spending, I don't know, I mean, they can do it a lot faster than me. But when I'm forming tortellini and what would go into one dish takes me like 5 minutes, and then giving that to someone and watching them eat it, and all that labor and love that has to go into just that tiny plate. There's just something that's so unique about that to me.
We were in the middle of hand rolling garganelli just now, and that's. I think people always ask you, what's your favorite, favorite pasta to make? It would be somewhere between either making capellettis / tortellinis or hand rolling garganelli, and it's what you said about that motion. It's just it becomes over and over again. Monotonous, but in a way of it's fun. You know, and each piece is different, but it's the same, right? Because it has to look the same, but each one is a little bit just Yep, you know, and I love watching the ridges be made on that. It's, across the board or whatever it is you're using to form it. It's just so fun. You have the dowel, you wrap the dough around it, take it off. and just over and over. But it's so fun to watch that tray fill up, and you're like, man, I just hand rolled 350 pieces of garganelli. It's 5 orders, so whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
But it's so fun to I mean, it's not even just fun. It's what's the word I'm looking for? Oh man, not relaxing, comforting maybe. I can't put my finger on it, but it's, I don't know. I think you get my point.
I got your drift. And what dish is that going with?
So again, we're prepping a lot for Christmas Eve here and Christmas, et cetera. Pasta is something we can get ahead on, of course. So we're doing for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, we're doing a sort of a shrimp fra diavolo scenario. So hand rolled garganelli, we'll do a little rock shrimp, a Calabrian chili butter, and this like citrus panko gremolata on top. It's a nice one. It's gonna be fun. Yeah, I'm excited for that one.
Who are you outside of the kitchen?
Let's see. So hold on, I gotta. Okay, so I come to work every day. I put on a pair of black pants, a pair of shoes, kitchen shoes, a chef coat, and I'm in the kitchen. When I leave, I'm typically wearing jean shorts, flip-flops, and a t-shirt. I go to the beach. I play golf.
How many days a week are you here?
Here at work?
Yeah.
I mean, I work anywhere from 5, 6, or 7 days, depending on the season, what's going on, the parties, the events, etc.
Yeah.
So I could be here 7 days a week. I could be here 5 days a week. I try to get here. I like to get here early in the morning because there's a lot to do. I hate saying that I have to work on a computer, but I think it's part of the job.
Yeah.
We do have to do that stuff, but I want to get the computer stuff out of the way, and I want to be in the kitchen after that, and I want to be in the kitchen for the rest of the day. So I come in early so I can get those things finished, and then I want to get in. We got prep, or we're testing, or whatever it is, playing with some new food, things like that, right? So but once I walk out the door, it's or if it's a day off, it's spent either at the beach or on a golf course somewhere. That's how I relax. That's what I want to do. Sometimes if I'm coming in a little bit later, if I know that I don't have to be here early, I'll actually go to the beach before I even get to work. A quick, not even a quick, maybe 20, 30-minute walk on the beach, just up and down along the water. Just kind of like it goes back to that Zen, right? It's like, it just like calms you down a little bit, it just puts you in a good mindset, and walk right down the street, come right to work. Good to go.
Awesome. I mean, the beach here is pretty. The beaches here are pretty incredible. It's
really can't go wrong with a Palm Beach beach.
The water's stunning. You got.
I think they pump in special water for Palm Beach. I don't know how it's so blue here. It's like unbelievable.
It really is. And when you get into the April, May, you have some serious sea life that you have tons of sharks and stuff that come through there.
Yeah.
And tell me a perfect meal for you. Food, ambiance, drinks, who you're with.
Oh man, who I'm with. Hold on.
Where it may be.
Perfect meal. I don't know how to describe a perfect meal. Like what would be my most ideal meal. I love doing a tasting menu. Sitting down, having a couple courses thrown at me is fantastic. Because I love seeing the progression of things. It's great. I'm just as happy sitting down eating a slice of pizza.
Yeah. There's no wrong answer.
No. I know that. It's I'm getting to the point of who is my most ideal companion, I guess. Would be. I'm sorry.
Don't apologize.
Usually I don't get emotional.
No,
so
the point of what I'm doing is really like the raw emotion. You see so many. I mean, this is gonna go off the record, or maybe it is gonna go on the record. I mean, not like whatever. Like you see so many shows. Chef's Table for one. There's these two guys like Top Jaw. I don't know if you've heard of them, but they have this whole documentary on Netflix, like chasing Michelin stars.
Okay.
And I would like when I was first starting out, I was like, I want to get to that. I want to get to the most well-known chefs in the world. Interview this guy, and then the more I've done this, and I've still only started out 4 months ago, but I realized that I don't care about all that bullshit. I care about getting to the raw human element of this that no one else really wants, because it's very easy to in this industry to just look at stars, accolades, and the glamour and the spotlight. And not to say that it wouldn't be cool to interview Alain Ducasse, but I want to find people who really are on the up and up in their career, and that are that level. And I believe one day we'll most definitely get there. And some of them don't have to be, but and get to the real like human side of it.
Yep.
And so that's more what I'm going for. And I've studied Charlie Rose, Cal Fussman, some of the best journalists, talk show hosts.
Really?
That I spent a lot of the summer studying that. And I listened to Cal Fussman once say that he's very famous for his interviews with Muhammad Ali and Mikhail Gorbachev.
Okay.
And I think it was right when the Soviet Union was becoming Russia or whatever.
Right.
And he was allotted a 60-minute interview with Mikhail Gorbachev, and like last minute, Mikhail Gorbachev's secretary said to him, "You only have 10 minutes, he's too busy." It's like, shit, how am I gonna, I have so much I want to ask him, how am I gonna get through it in 10 minutes? And he goes in the interview, and Mikhail Gorbachev is expecting him to just start talking about politics. And the first question he asks him is, "What is the greatest lesson your father ever taught you?" And that's why I asked you that. Whether I ask you about people about their mother, father, mother, grandfather, just because you were saying that your grandmother was a big influence, that's who I wanted to know about. But that's actually a staple. Like anyway, so he starts talking about when his father was going off to war. He took him on vacation or whatever before he left. He was about to start serving in Italy, and he remembers in Italy like getting this ice cream cone. And keep in mind, Mikhail Gorbachev doesn't speak English, so this 10 minutes is included.
Translated, yeah.
and so he starts just like, he holds up what in his mind is a cone. I think his like eyes are closed and he's talking. Eventually their secretary comes in and says, "All right, your interview's over." Mikhail Gorbachev goes, and then it happened again and again, and she kept coming in, and then eventually looked at him and was like, and they got into politics eventually, and what he came there for, but I'm there for the raw emotion. I'm not, So that's long story short. But
No.
Anyway, so going back to a perfect meal.
Again, it's hard to say like what the perfect meal is. You know, it's like I said. I mean, you could do a tasting menu, of course. You can do a coursed out scenario like that, or it could just be just something comforting, right? I always find that it is. I love when people say, "I had the best bowl of pasta in Italy," and I think to myself, well, you're sitting in a restaurant overlooking the Amalfi Coast. It may have been store-bought pasta, but it's in your mind, right? It's funny to say that sort of thing. You know, people say, "Oh, it's the best ever, it's the best ever," but there's so many factors of like of the ambience of the restaurant, so on and so forth, and who you're with. So I think it goes back to what I said, right? Putting food on the table brings people together, right? If it's a table full of people that don't know each other, you put that food there, and now you have something to talk about. Now you're bringing each other together, right? The food is bringing you together, I should say, rather. So I think your dining mates, if you will, dining companions, probably play a very big role. So to answer the question of who's like my perfect dining companion, I would say it's my sister. We go out, we used to go out once a year. I mean, we go out a bunch of times, but once a year. January 2nd was like our day. It was like our way to kick off the new year. And we would always pick a very high-end restaurant. It didn't have to be though, but it was like the chance to spend some money. Yeah. But that was our time to go and like spend that day together, you know, and it was like the tradition that we had built. I live here now, so it's obviously not something we get to do, unfortunately. But you know, whenever I travel back to Jersey and see the family, we'll do it again. But it's not. It's let's go see this new restaurant. Oh, this is the new hype or whatever. Yes, it's about that, but it was more that like, just like, come on, we're gonna go out and do our thing. Yeah. And we'll talk about the meal down the road. I mean, even actually, it's funny. I just referenced one of them. It was the last meal I'd had, like major meal that I'd had in New York City before I moved back to Florida in 2022. And I texted my sister the other day and I was like, "Nicole, do you have all the pictures from this restaurant? Send them all to me." Because I wanted to look at them, because I wanted like some inspiration for some stuff. And like, boom, she had it, you know, she sent them all off right away. And Like that's what it's all about, right? That was a coursed out tasting menu. It was huge. It was great. Food was fantastic, but it wasn't just about that. It was like sitting there with her, like tasting the food and saying like, what do you think? Oh, you like this? You don't like this? Or so on and so forth. And still being able to talk about it today. That's 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago. Yeah. So it's kind of it's like that makes it fun, That's it. It was hard to get that all out.
Well, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes.
And thank you for coming on the show.
Of course. Thank you for having me. You mentioned some interviews that people that you were sort of emulating, studying, and we should have made the joke about like between two ferns sort of scenario here. We're almost there.
I love that. I'll include that. It really is.
I don't know. It's not a fern, but close enough, right? Whatever this is.
Oh my God, those are so funny. He's so good. He is so good. I think his Obama one. They're all good.
They're all fantastic.
They're all good. Everyone has a little something that's just funnier than the next. Yeah,
absolutely. Well,
thank you again.
Right on. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. It was fun.
Fried calamari, salads. That was it.